Maya Chen knew she was not supposed to be in the crystalline canyons. Her parents had told her 100 times to stay away from the forbidden zone. The colonial administrator had put up warning signs everywhere. Even her best friend Sarah thought she was crazy for coming here. But Maya was 12 years old, and 12-year-olds sometimes did things they were not supposed to do. The morning sun made the crystal formations sparkle like diamonds. New Terra was beautiful, even if it was dangerous. The human colony had been here for 5 years now, trying to build a new home among the stars. But they were not alone on this planet. The Drakthor lived here too. Maya had only seen the Drakthor from far away. The adults called them dragons, and they did look like the dragons from old Earth stories. They were huge, with scales that shimmered in the light, massive wings that could block out the sun, and eyes that glowed with intelligence. But the Drakthor were not friendly with humans. 7 years ago, before Maya's family even came to New Terra, there had been a terrible incident. Humans and Drakthor had fought. People died. Drakthor died. Now both species stayed away from each other, watching from a distance, neither trusting the other. Maya walked carefully between the tall crystal spires. She had her exploration kit with her, a backpack with water, snacks, a first aid kit, some tools, and her mother's old binoculars. She was not supposed to have taken the first aid kit, but Maya liked to be prepared. Her mother was a doctor, and she had taught Maya basic medical care. All life deserves compassion, her mother always said. Maya believed that. The sound hit her like a physical force. A roar of pain and fear echoed through the canyons, so loud that Maya dropped her binoculars. Her heart hammered in her chest. Every instinct told her to run back home to get to safety. But something in that roar made her pause. It was not the sound of anger. It was the sound of suffering. Maya picked up her binoculars and moved toward the sound. Her hands shook. She was terrified, but she kept walking. The roaring came again, weaker this time, mixed with a high-pitched whining sound that made her chest hurt. Something was badly hurt. She found it in a deep ravine between two massive crystal formations. At first, Maya could not understand what she was seeing. The creature was so big. A Drakthor collapsed on its side, one wing bent at a terrible angle. Purple blood stained the crystal ground beneath it. The dragon's scales were a deep blue color, almost black, and they flickered weakly in the sunlight. Maya's breath caught in her throat. She should run. She should get help. She should do anything except stand here staring at a wounded Drakthor. But she could not move. The creature's eye opened, focusing on her. It was golden, like molten metal, and it was filled with pain and fear. The dragon tried to lift its head and failed. It made that whining sound again, and Maya saw why. A huge piece of metal was embedded in the creature's jaw, going deep into its mouth. Blood dripped from the wound. Maya recognized the metal. It was from one of the old satellites that had crashed months ago. The sharp edge had pierced through the dragon's mouth and was stuck there, probably caught on bone or teeth. The Drakthor saw her looking. It opened its mouth slightly, and Maya saw the full extent of the damage. The metal shard was as long as her arm, and it had to be causing incredible pain. The dragon could not eat with that in its mouth. It could not close its jaw properly. If the wound got infected, the creature would die. Maya stood frozen. This was a Drakthor, the enemy, the dangerous aliens that everyone feared. She should leave it here. She should tell the adults. They would know what to do. But even as she thought these things, Maya knew what the adults would do. They would either leave the dragon to die, or they would kill it themselves. They would say it was too dangerous, that it was better this way. All life deserves compassion. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. Maya took a step forward. The dragon's eye tracked her movement. It tried to move away, but it was too weak. Its wing dragged uselessly across the ground. Maya held up her hands, palms out, the way her father had taught her to approach scared animals on their farm back on Earth. "It's okay," she said softly, even though she knew the creature probably could not understand her words.
"I want to help."
"Please don't be scared." She took another step. The dragon's breathing was rapid and shallow. It was going into shock. Maya had seen that before in injured animals. She moved closer, slowly, carefully. The Drakthor watched her with that golden eye, and Maya saw something incredible. The creature was intelligent. Really intelligent. It was not just an animal. It was thinking, deciding, choosing. Maya was close enough now to touch the dragon's snout. It was as big as her entire body. One bite and she would be dead. One swipe of those claws and she would be torn apart. But the dragon did not move. It just watched her with that intense, intelligent stare. "I'm going to help you," Maya whispered. "I promise I won't hurt you more than I have to." The dragon made a soft rumbling sound. Then slowly, carefully, it opened its massive jaws a little wider. It was giving her permission. It was asking for help. Maya's hands shook as she opened her backpack. She pulled out the first aid kit, her water bottle, and a multi-tool her father had given her. She looked at the wound, at the metal shard embedded deep in the dragon's mouth, and she knew what she had to do. She would have to climb partially into the dragon's mouth to reach it. Maya looked into that golden eye again. "You have to stay very still," she told the creature. "This is going to hurt, but I'll be as fast as I can." The dragon rumbled again, softer this time. It lowered its head to the ground and opened its mouth wider, giving her access. Maya could see rows of teeth, each one as long as her hand. She could see the pink flesh inside, the wounded area where the metal had torn through. She could smell the blood and something else, something alien but not unpleasant. Maya took a deep breath. She thought about her mother, about compassion, about doing the right thing even when it was terrifying. Then she climbed up onto the dragon's lower jaw and carefully stepped into its mouth. The dragon's whole body trembled, but it did not move. It did not close its jaws. It trusted her. Maya reached for the metal shard with shaking hands. She could see where it was caught, wedged between two large teeth and piercing through the soft tissue. This was going to be difficult. This was going to hurt the creature terribly. But it had to be done. "I'm sorry," Maya whispered. Then she began to work. The metal shard would not move easily. Maya gripped it with both hands, her feet braced against the dragon's lower jaw, and she pulled. The creature's whole body went rigid with pain, but it did not move its head. It did not close its mouth. Maya could hear a low whining sound coming from deep in the dragon's throat. But still it stayed perfectly still. She pulled harder. The metal scraped against teeth and bone, and purple blood began to flow faster. Maya's arms burned with effort. She was not very strong, just a 12-year-old girl, but she pulled with everything she had. The shard shifted slightly, just a little bit. Maya adjusted her grip and pulled again from a different angle. Suddenly the metal came free. Maya stumbled backward, almost falling out of the dragon's mouth. The shard clattered to the ground, covered in purple blood. The wound bled freely now, but that was actually good. It would help clean out any infection. Maya quickly grabbed her water bottle and poured clean water over the wound. The dragon flinched but stayed still. She opened the first aid kit and found the antiseptic spray her mother had packed. It was meant for human wounds, but Maya hoped it would work. She sprayed it carefully into the wound, watching as it foamed slightly. The dragon's eye squeezed shut, and it made that whining sound again. Maya's heart broke at the sound. "I know it hurts," she said softly. "Just a little more. You're being so brave." She found the bandages, but they were too small for a wound this size. Instead, Maya used the whole roll, packing it gently into the deepest part of the wound to stop the bleeding. It was not perfect, but it was the best she could do. The dragon would heal on its own if the wound stayed clean. Maya climbed out of the dragon's mouth and stepped back. She was covered in purple blood. Her hands shook from adrenaline and fear and the incredible weight of what she had just done. She had just performed surgery inside a dragon's mouth. She had just saved the life of a Drakthor. The dragon slowly closed its jaws. It lifted its head slightly and looked at Maya. Then it did something that made Maya's breath catch. The creature moved its huge head forward and gently touched her chest with its snout. The touch was soft, careful, as if the dragon knew how fragile she was. It rumbled, a deep sound that vibrated through Maya's whole body. It was not a threatening sound. It was almost like a purr. "You're welcome," Maya whispered, even though her voice shook. The dragon looked at her for a long moment with those intelligent golden eyes. Then, with obvious effort and pain, it spread its wings. The damaged one did not open all the way, but it opened enough. The creature launched itself into the air with a powerful leap, wings beating hard. It was unsteady, wobbling in the air, but it could fly. It circled once above Maya's head, called out a sound that was not quite a roar, and then flew away toward the distant mountains. Maya stood alone in the ravine, covered in alien blood, and realized she was crying. She did not know if she was crying from fear or relief or the incredible beauty of what had just happened. Maybe all three. The walk back to the colony took 2 hours. Maya tried to clean the blood off her clothes with water from a stream, but purple stains remained. Her parents were going to know something had happened. There was no hiding this. Her mother saw her first. The color drained from her face. Maya, what happened? Are you hurt? She grabbed Maya, checking her for injuries, her doctor's hands quick and efficient. I'm fine, Mom, Maya said. It's not my blood. Her father came running from the equipment shed. When he saw the purple blood, his face went pale. Maya, what did you do? So Maya told them. She told them everything. Finding the wounded Drakthor, the metal shard climbing into its mouth, pulling the shard free. Her parents listened in complete silence, their faces showing shock, fear, and something else Maya could not quite identify. When she finished, her mother pulled her into a tight hug. You could have been killed, she whispered. But I wasn't, Maya said. It needed help, Mom. You always say all life deserves compassion. Her father ran his hands through his hair, a gesture he made when he was stressed. Maya, the Drakthor are dangerous. We don't know what they'll do. What if it comes back? What if it brings others? It was hurt and scared, just like any wounded animal would be, Maya said. It didn't try to hurt me. It trusted me. The colonial administrator came to their house that evening. He was a tall man named Mr. Harrison, and he looked very serious. He asked Maya to tell her story again, and she did. When she finished, he shook his head. You broke the rules, Maya, he said. The Forbidden Zone is forbidden for a reason. You put yourself in terrible danger, and you interacted with a Drakthor. We have a treaty with them. We don't bother each other. You could have started another war. I saved a life, Maya said quietly. Isn't that more important than rules? Mr. Harrison sighed. Stay away from the Drakthor from now on. That's an order, not a request. Do you understand? Maya nodded, but she did not promise. For 3 days, nothing unusual happened. Maya went to school, did her homework, and helped her parents on their small farm. She did not go back to the crystalline canyons. But she thought about the dragon constantly. She wondered if it was okay, if the wound was healing, if it had made it home safely. On the 4th morning, Maya woke up and looked out her window. Something was lying on the fence post outside, something that glowed softly in the early morning light. She ran outside in her pajamas. It was a crystal, but not like the ones from the canyons. This one was smooth and perfectly round, about the size of her fist. It glowed with an inner light that pulsed gently like a heartbeat. It was the most beautiful thing Maya had ever seen. Her father found her holding it, staring at it in wonder. Where did that come from? He asked. I think it was left here, Maya said. I think it was a gift. The next morning, there were 3 strange fruits on the doorstep. They were unlike any earth fruit, with silver skin and sweet smell. The morning after that, a perfectly preserved fossil appeared, showing a creature that had lived on New Terra millions of years ago. Every morning brought something new and wonderful. Maya started looking for the dragon. She used her binoculars to scan the distant cliffs and mountains. On the 7th day, she saw it. The blue-black dragon was perched on a cliff about a mile away, watching her house. When Maya waved, the dragon dipped its head in what looked like a bow, then spread its wings and flew away. It's thanking me, Maya told her mother. Or it's bonding with you, her mother said, worry in her voice. Maya, we don't know what this means in their culture, but Maya was not worried. She felt something she had never felt before. A connection across species, across language, across everything that made them different. She had helped when help was needed, and something beautiful had grown from that simple act. Then, on the 10th day, the alarms started blaring across the colony. Maya ran outside with her parents and saw something that made her blood run cold. The sky was filled with ships. Not human ships, Drakthor ships. Dozens of them, massive and powerful, descending toward New Terra. People screamed. Parents grabbed their children. The Colonial Defense Force activated their weapons. Everyone remembered the war, the fighting, the deaths. Everyone thought the same thing. The Drakthor had come to finish what they started years ago. But Maya saw something the others did not see. She saw a familiar blue-black shape flying frantically between the colony and the fleet, weaving through the air, making distressed calls. Her dragon, her friend. It was trying to tell them something. Wait, Maya shouted. Don't shoot! Something's wrong. This isn't an attack. But no one listened to a 12-year-old girl. The defense weapons powered up. The Drakthor ships came closer, and Maya knew that everything was about to change forever. Maya ran toward the landing zone. Her parents shouted at her to come back, but she did not stop. She could see her dragon circling above the colony, calling out in a way that sounded desperate. The Drakthor ships were landing in the open field, outside the colony walls, their massive forms blocking out the sun. Colonial guards surrounded the landing zone with weapons raised. Mr. Harrison was shouting orders through a megaphone. Families huddled in their homes. The air was thick with fear and the smell of weapon systems charging up. "Hold your fire!" Maya screamed as she reached the guards. "Please, hold your fire!" "Maya, get back!" Mr. Harrison yelled at her. "This is not safe." "They're not attacking," Maya shouted back. "Look at them. If they wanted to attack, they would have fired from the sky. They're landing peacefully." Harrison paused. He looked at the ships again. Maya was right. The Drakthor vessels had not fired a single shot. They had landed gently, carefully, away from the colony buildings. The doors were opening, but no weapons emerged. The blue-black dragon landed beside Maya with a heavy thump. It lowered its head and made a soft rumbling sound. Maya reached out and touched its snout without thinking. "What's happening?" she whispered. "What's wrong?" The largest Drakthor ship opened its main door. A ramp extended to the ground. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then she appeared. The biggest Drakthor Maya had ever seen walked down the ramp with slow, measured steps. Her scales were deep crimson red with streaks of gold. She wore something that looked like armor, made of crystal and metal. Her eyes were not gold like the blue dragon's eyes. They were silver like starlight. Behind her came dozens of other Drakthor, all different sizes and colors. They formed two lines, like an honor guard. The crimson dragon walked between them toward the colony. The blue-black dragon beside Maya made a sound and flew to her side, landing just behind her and to her right. The colonial guards looked terrified, but they held their ground. Mr. Harrison stepped forward, his face pale but determined. A small device on his belt beeped. The translation device that had been developed years ago but rarely used. The crimson dragon stopped about 50 feet from the colony walls. When she spoke, her voice was deep and powerful, like thunder rolling across mountains. The translation device turned her words into English. "I am Skyren's matriarch. I am mother and leader of the Flamewing clan. We come in peace, seeking only answers." "Answers to what?" Mr. Harrison called back, his voice shaking slightly. "My youngest son went missing 15 of your days ago," the matriarch said. "We searched everywhere. We believed humans had captured him or killed him. We came prepared for war if needed. But then 3 days ago my son returned home. He was wounded but alive. And he told us an impossible story." The blue-black dragon, Skyrend, Maya now knew, stepped forward and made a series of sounds. The translation device could not fully translate, but Maya understood the emotion behind the sounds. He was telling his story. The matriarch continued. "My son says a human found him dying with metal in his mouth. He says this human was small, a child. He says this child could have left him to die, could have run away, could have called warriors to kill him while he was helpless. But instead this child climbed into his mouth and pulled out the metal that would have killed him. This child saved his life when she had no reason to do so." The crowd behind Maya murmured in shock. People turned to look at her. She felt her face go red. "Is this true?" the matriarch asked, her silver eyes scanning the crowd. "Is there truly a human who would show mercy to a Drakthor? Or has my son's pain caused him to dream?" Maya's mouth was dry. Her legs felt weak. But she thought about her mother's words. She thought about doing what was right even when it was scary. She stepped forward. "It's true," Maya said in a small voice. Then louder, "It's true. I found Skyrend hurt in the crystalline canyons. He had a metal shard stuck in his jaw. I pulled it out and bandaged the wound. I couldn't just leave him there to die." Every eye turned to Maya. Human eyes and Drakthor eyes. The matriarch's massive head swung toward her, and Maya felt the weight of that ancient gaze. The dragon walked closer, each step shaking the ground slightly. The guards raised their weapons, but Mr. Harrison waved them down. The matriarch stopped right in front of the colony wall. She was so big that Maya had to tilt her head all the way back to see her face. "You," the matriarch said softly. "This tiny thing. This child. You saved my son? Yes, ma'am, Maya said, her voice squeaking slightly. You were not afraid? I was terrified, Maya admitted. But he needed help. My mom says all life deserves compassion. The matriarch was silent for a long moment. Then she did something that shocked everyone. She lowered her massive head until her snout touched the ground in front of Maya. It was a bow, a gesture of deep respect. Among my people, the matriarch said, there is a sacred bond called soul debt. When one saves the life of another, when mercy is shown to the helpless, a debt is created that can never be fully repaid. My son owes you soul debt, little human, and through him, all of the Flamewing clan owes you honor. She raised her head and looked beyond Maya to the gathered humans. We came here ready for war. We thought our son had been murdered by humans. We remembered the fighting from years ago. We remembered the deaths on both sides. We believed humans were cruel and merciless. The matriarch's voice grew softer. But one small child has shown us we were wrong. One act of mercy has revealed a truth we did not see. Humans are capable of great compassion. You protect your weak instead of abandoning them. You help those who are different from you. You choose kindness even when you are afraid. Mr. Harrison stepped forward. Matriarch, we also made judgments about your people. We thought you were violent and dangerous. We have kept our distance out of fear. Perhaps we were also wrong. The fighting years ago, the matriarch said, was a terrible misunderstanding. Your people found our eggs. You did not know they were eggs, they look like rocks. Your people took them for study. We thought you were stealing our children. Both sides reacted with violence before trying to communicate. We didn't know, Mr. Harrison said, his voice filled with sadness. We gave the rocks to our geology team. By the time we understood what they were, the fighting had already started. And we did not ask questions before attacking, the matriarch admitted. Both our peoples acted out of fear and ignorance. But perhaps it is not too late to change this. She turned back to Maya. Tell me, small brave one, what is your name? Maya Chen, Maya said. Maya Chen, the matriarch repeated, as if tasting the name. My son wishes to thank you properly. In our culture, when soul debt is formed, we exchange gifts. He has been leaving you small tokens, but now he wishes to give you something more significant. Skyrend walked forward. Around his neck was a cord, and on the cord hung a single scale. It was one of his own scales, deep blue-black and shimmering. He lowered his head, and Maya understood she was supposed to take it. Her hands trembled as she lifted the cord from his neck. The scale was warm to the touch and surprisingly light. That scale will mark you as Flame Sister, the matriarch explained. You are part of our clan now. Any Drakthor who sees it will treat you with honor and respect. You are under our protection for as long as you live. Maya held the scale carefully. It was the most precious thing she had ever owned. Thank you, she whispered to Skyrend. He rumbled softly and gently touched her head with his snout. The matriarch looked at Mr. Harrison again. We wish to propose a formal alliance between our peoples. We have technology and knowledge we can share. We have watched you struggle to farm this world. We know which plants are safe and which are not. We have medicine that works on your biology as well as ours. We have lived on New Terra for millions of years. We can teach you much. And what do you want in return? Mr. Harrison asked carefully. To learn from you, the matriarch said simply. Your creativity, your compassion, your different way of seeing the world, to ensure that no more misunderstandings lead to death, and perhaps to find more humans like Maya Chen, who see beyond fear to the life that needs saving. Mr. Harrison looked at Maya. Then he looked at his people, gathered behind the walls, watching this impossible meeting. I cannot make this decision alone, he said, but I am willing to talk, to try. That is all we ask, the matriarch said. A beeping sound interrupted the moment. One of the colonial officers ran forward with a worried face. Sir, deep space sensors are picking up something. Unknown ships, a lot of them. Moving fast, heading this way. The matriarch's head snapped up, her eyes narrowed. Show me. The officer pulled up a holographic display. The matriarch studied it, and her expression grew dark. The Ravagers, she hissed. Destroyer swarm. They consume everything in their path. Ravagers? Mr. Harrison asked. An enemy of all life, the matriarch said grimly. They have destroyed 17 worlds in this sector, both Drakthor worlds and others. They do not negotiate. They do not stop. They only destroy. She looked at Mr. Harrison. Your colony is in their path. You will all die. A cold silence fell over everyone. Then Maya spoke up, her young voice clear in the quiet. Unless we work together. The matriarch looked at her. Then she smiled, showing many sharp teeth. Yes, she said. Unless we work together. Well said, Flame Sister. She turned to Mr. Harrison. Your alliance proposal has come at a very urgent time. The next 2 days were the busiest of Maya's life. The colony transformed from a scared settlement into a war camp. Humans and Drakthor worked side by side, preparing for the battle that was coming. The matriarch brought technical experts who showed the humans how to strengthen their shields using crystal technology. Human engineers taught the Drakthor about tactical sensor networks and communication systems. The two species had different strengths, and together they were building something neither could have built alone. Maya spent most of her time in the communications center. At first, the adults tried to send her away, telling her it was too dangerous. But the matriarch herself had insisted Maya stay. She is Flame Sister, the matriarch said firmly. She understands both our peoples. She should be part of this. So Maya sat at a communications console, helping translate between human technical language and Drakthor concepts. She was good at it. She understood how to explain human ideas in ways the Drakthor could understand, and she could simplify Drakthor strategies so humans could follow them. Skyrend rarely left her side. He had appointed himself her guardian, and he took the job very seriously. When Maya worked, he lay beside her console, his golden eyes watching everything. When she ate, he brought her strange fruits and meats from the Drakthor supplies. When she got tired, he made soft rumbling sounds that helped her relax. You're like a very big, very scary guard dog, Maya told him with a smile. Skyrend snorted and a small puff of smoke came from his nostrils. Maya laughed. She was pretty sure he found that comparison funny. On the second day, the War Council met. Mr. Harrison represented the humans. The matriarch represented the Drakthor. They studied holographic maps and sensor data, planning their defense. The Ravagers will come in 3 waves, the matriarch explained. First, small scout ships to test our defenses, then medium attack ships to weaken us. Finally, their command ships will come to finish us off. Each wave is more dangerous than the last. How many ships are we talking about? Asked Commander Torres, the head of Colonial Defense. At least 200, the matriarch said. Possibly more. The humans looked shocked. They had 12 defensive ships and about 50 fighters. The Drakthor had 30 warships, but that was still not enough. We can't fight that many, Commander Torres said quietly. Not directly, agreed the matriarch, but we do not need to destroy them all. We only need to destroy their command ship. The others will retreat without leadership. Ravagers are like insects. They follow orders but cannot think for themselves. So we need to survive the first 2 waves and then strike the command ship, Mr. Harrison said. Can we do that? The matriarch's tail swished thoughtfully. Humans have something we Drakthor do not have. Your tactical thinking, your ability to create complex strategies quickly. We have something you do not have. Our ability to fight in the air, our strength, our fire. Together, yes. I believe we can do this, Maya listened carefully. She noticed something the adults had not discussed. What about the civilians? She asked. Where will they be during the fighting? Everyone turned to look at her. Mr. Harrison sighed. We have emergency bunkers. They'll be safe there. Will they? Maya asked. If the Ravagers get through your defenses, will concrete bunkers stop them? The matriarch's eyes gleamed with approval. The small one asks wise questions. No, surface bunkers will not protect against Ravager weapons, but there is a solution. She tapped the holographic map and it zoomed in on the crystalline canyons. Deep in these canyons are cave systems, natural caves reinforced with crystal formations. Very strong. The Ravagers would not be able to reach anyone inside. The Forbidden Zone, Mr. Harrison said slowly, You would let our people shelter in your territory? We are allies now, the matriarch said simply. Your people are under our protection. My clan will help move your civilians to safety. And so it began. Families packed essential supplies and moved toward the canyons. Drakthor warriors flew overhead guarding them. Children who had been taught to fear dragons now rode on their backs, holding on tight and laughing with nervous excitement. The barriers between the two species were coming down, piece by piece. Maya's parents wanted her to go with the civilians, but she refused. I need to be in the command center, she said. I can help. I understand both sides. Her mother pulled her close. Maya, you're 12 years old. You should be safe. Mom, everyone has a job to do right now, Maya said. This is mine. Please trust me. Her father looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. You proved you can be brave when it matters. Just promise you'll be careful. I promise, Maya said. The Ravagers arrived exactly when the sensors predicted. They came out of hyperspace like a dark cloud. Their ships twisted and wrong-looking, like metal and flesh had been combined in terrible ways. The sight of them made Maya's stomach turn. First wave incoming, Commander Torres announced. 57 small craft. They'll be in weapons range in 3 minutes. All human fighters launch, Mr. Harrison ordered. Drakthor air wings take positions above the colony. Maya watched the screens as human ships and Drakthor warriors took to the sky. It was strange and beautiful seeing them fly together, both groups working as one. The first Ravager ships opened fire and the battle began. The fighting was intense. Ravager weapons were powerful, but human tactics and Drakthor strength proved effective. Human fighters used hit-and-run attacks, drawing Ravager ships into positions where Drakthor warriors could strike from above. The Drakthor breathed fire that melted through Ravager armor, while human missiles destroyed targets the Drakthor had weakened. Maya coordinated communications between the two forces. Blue Squadron, 3 Ravagers on your 6 o'clock, she called out. Stormwing Clan, can you assist? Stormwing moving, came the translated response. 3 blue Drakthor dove from the clouds, breathing fire at the Ravagers chasing the human fighters. Target destroyed, reported the squadron leader. Thanks for the save. We fight together, came the Drakthor response. That is what allies do. The first wave was defeated within an hour. 15 Ravager ships were destroyed. The others retreated. But everyone knew this was just the beginning. Damage report, Mr. Harrison called. 2 fighters damaged but repairable, Commander Torres said. 3 Drakthor with minor injuries. Overall, we did well. The second wave will not be so easy, the matriarch warned. They will have learned from the first wave. They will adapt. She was right. The second wave came 6 hours later. This time there were 83 ships and they were larger and better armed. The battle was harder and longer. Human ships and Drakthor warriors fought with everything they had, but it was not enough. Shield generators at 60%, an officer reported. We can't take much more of this. A Ravager ship broke through the defensive line heading straight for the colony. Its weapons charged up, ready to fire at the buildings below. Maya watched in horror as the ship lined up its shot. Then Skyren dove from the sky like a blue meteor. He hit the Ravager ship with all his weight, claws tearing into its hull. The ship spun out of control, crashing into the empty field outside the colony walls. Skyren roared in triumph, but Maya saw purple blood on his side. He had been hurt. Skyren! Maya shouted into her communicator. Are you okay? The dragon's voice came through, translated by the device. Just a scratch, Flame Sister. It will take more than that to stop me. The second wave was finally defeated, but the cost was higher. 5 human fighters were destroyed. 7 Drakthor were injured, 3 seriously. The defenders were tired and running low on ammunition and energy. The command ship will come soon, the matriarch said. Everyone must rest while they can. The final battle will decide everything. Maya was exhausted, but she could not sleep. She sat outside the command center looking at the stars. Skyren lay beside her, his wound bandaged by human medics. She leaned against his warm scales. Are we going to win? She asked quietly. Skyren rumbled thoughtfully. I do not know the future, small one, but I know this. We will fight with everything we have, and we will fight together. That gives us a chance. I'm scared, Maya admitted. Fear is not weakness, Skyren said. Fear is what tells us something matters. You were afraid when you saved my life, but you did it anyway. That is true courage, Maya thought about that. She thought about the journey that had brought them here. 1 wounded dragon, 1 scared girl, and a choice to help instead of walking away. That choice had changed everything. Incoming, an alarm blared. Multiple large signatures detected. Maya jumped to her feet. This was it. The final wave. The command ship was coming, and with it would come the battle that would decide whether New Terra survived or fell. She ran back to the command center with Skyrend right behind her. Mr. Harrison and the matriarch were already studying the sensor displays. What they saw made even these brave leaders look worried. The Ravager command ship was huge, 10 times larger than any ship the humans or Drakthor had, and surrounding it were at least 60 more Ravager attack ships. The odds were terrible. "We need a miracle," Commander Torres whispered. Maya looked at the Ravager command ship filled the sky like a dark moon. It was a horrible thing to look at. All sharp edges and organic curves mixed together in ways that hurt to see. Smaller Ravager ships swarmed around it like angry insects protecting their queen. "All forces engage." Mr. Harrison's voice rang out across all channels. The battle erupted across the sky. Human fighters darted between Ravager ships firing missiles and energy weapons. Drakthor warriors dove and climbed, breathing fire and tearing at enemy hulls with their claws. The air filled with explosions and the sounds of combat. Maya sat at her console, watching multiple screens at once. She coordinated between human and Drakthor forces, directing them where they were needed most. Red Squadron, fall back and regroup. Shadow Wing, press your advantage on the left flank. Blue Squadron, watch your 6. You have 3 Ravagers closing in. Understood, came the responses from both species, working together without hesitation. But the Ravager command ship was doing something strange. It was not joining the fight. Instead, it hung back while its smaller ships engaged. Maya watched it carefully, her instincts telling her something was wrong. "Commander," she said to Mr. Harrison, "the command ship is not engaging." "Why?" Commander Torres studied the readings. "It's charging something. A massive energy buildup. Whatever it is, it's big." The matriarch's eyes widened with alarm. "A planet cracker weapon. They are going to destroy New Terra entirely if we do not stop them." "How long do we have?" Mr. Harrison asked. 10 minutes, maybe less," the matriarch said. "We must destroy that ship now." But getting to the command ship meant breaking through 60 Ravager attack ships. Even with their combined forces, that seemed impossible. They were already struggling to hold their defensive positions. Maya stared at the tactical display, her mind racing. She thought about human strategy and Drakthor's strength. She thought about how they had won the first 2 waves, not by being stronger but by being smarter and working together. There had to be a way. Then she saw it, a pattern in the Ravager ship movements. They were protecting the command ship, yes, but they were doing it in a predictable way. They formed layers of defense, but each layer had gaps where the layers met. "Small gaps, but gaps nonetheless. I have an idea," Maya said. Her voice was quiet, but everyone in the command center turned to listen. "The Ravagers are protecting the command ship in layers, but there are gaps where the layers connect. If we could get a small strike team through those gaps." Commander Torres pulled up the tactical map and studied it. "She's right. There are gaps, but they're small. Only the smallest, fastest ships could fit through, and they'd be flying blind into heavy fire." "Or the most agile flyers," the matriarch added, understanding dawning in her eyes. "A combined team. Human fighters to navigate the gaps with precision, and Drakthor warriors to protect them and deliver the final strike." "It's a suicide mission," Mr. Harrison said quietly. "Whoever goes won't have support. They'll be surrounded. Then we make sure they don't face those numbers," Maya said. "The rest of our forces create a diversion. Draw away as many Ravagers as possible. Give the strike team their best chance." Skyrend stood up beside Maya. He spoke, and the translation came through clear and strong. "I will lead the Drakthor strike wing. Flame Sister showed me that true bravery is helping others even when you are afraid. Let me show that I learned this lesson." "I'll lead the human fighters," said a voice. Maya turned to see her own father step forward. He was a reserve pilot, trained years ago before becoming a farmer. "My daughter taught me that courage means doing what is right, even when it is hard. I will not let her lesson go to waste." Maya's mother grabbed her father's arm. "David, no." He kissed her forehead gently. "Our daughter saved a dragon's life and stopped a war. I can do my part too." He looked at Maya. "Make sure we get through those gaps, sweetheart. Guide us home." Maya's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. She could not let fear stop her from doing her job. Not now. The plan was set. 2/3 of the forces would create a massive diversion. attacking the Ravager ships from all sides. The strike team, 5 human fighters led by Maya's father and 6 Drakthor warriors led by Skyrend, would use the chaos to slip through the gaps and reach the command ship. All forces, execute, Mr. Harrison ordered. The diversionary attack was fierce and wild. Human ships and Drakthor warriors struck at the Ravager lines from every angle, making as much noise and destruction as possible. The Ravagers reacted exactly as predicted, shifting their forces to defend against the attacks. Strike team, go now, Maya called. First gap is opening at coordinates mark 7-3. She watched on her screen as the 11 ships and warriors shot forward. Her father's fighter led the way, with Skyrend flying right beside him. They slipped through the first gap with barely any room to spare. Gap 2 coming up in 15 seconds, Maya said, her voice steady, even though her heart was pounding. Adjust heading to mark 9-1. The strike team shifted course. A Ravager ship spotted them and opened fire. One of the human fighters was hit and had to fall back. But the others made it through the second gap. Third gap is the smallest, Maya warned. You'll have to go single file. Human fighters first, then Drakthor warriors follow. Her father's voice came through the communicator. Understood. Maya, your mother wants you to know she's proud of you. So am I. Dad, please just focus on flying, Maya said, her voice cracking slightly. One by one, the strike team threaded through the third gap. Another human fighter was hit and destroyed. Maya wanted to scream, wanted to cry, but she forced herself to stay focused. 4 human fighters and 6 Drakthor warriors remained. You're through the defenses, Maya said. The command ship is directly ahead. You have maybe 3 minutes before that weapon fires. The strike team accelerated toward the massive command ship. Defensive turrets on the ship opened fire, filling space with deadly energy beams. The fighters and warriors dodged and weaved, but the fire was too heavy. Another fighter exploded, then another. 1 Drakthor warrior was hit and had to retreat, trailing smoke. Only Maya's father, 1 other fighter, and 5 Drakthor warriors, including Skyrend, made it to the command ship. They landed on its hull and began placing explosive charges on critical systems. Maya's father and Skyrend worked side by side, human and dragon doing what neither could do alone. Charges set, her father reported. We need 45 seconds for them to sync up. The weapon is firing in 30 seconds, the matriarch said urgently. Maya's mind raced. 30 seconds was not enough time unless... Dad, can you manually override the sync? Force the charges to blow now? Yes, but we'd have to stay here to do it. We wouldn't make it clear before the explosion. Maya's blood ran cold. No, there had to be another way. But she looked at the timer on the weapon, looked at her home below, looked at all the people depending on them. There was no other way. Do it, Maya whispered. Then louder. Do it, Dad, override the sync. Her father was quiet for just a moment. I love you, Maya. Tell your mother I love her too. Then to the others. All ships and warriors retreat now. I'll handle the override. I will stay with you, Skyrend said firmly. We fight together. We die together if we must. This is what it means to be soul bonded. We both stay, said another Drakthor warrior. And me, said the other human pilot. Maya watched through the cameras as 4 brave souls, 2 humans, and 2 Drakthor worked together to manually detonate the charges. The other team members retreated as fast as they could. Seconds until weapon fires, someone said. 5 seconds until charges blow, her father reported. Command ship's weapon began to glow with terrible power. Then the charges exploded. The command ship tore apart from inside, its weapon dying before it could fire. The explosion was massive, beautiful, and terrible at the same time. Maya stared at the screen where her father had been, where Skyrend's brave companions had been. The channel was silent, nothing, no signal, no life signs. Then, through the debris and smoke, 4 shapes emerged, battered, damaged, but alive. 2 human fighters and 2 Drakthor warriors. They had survived by hiding behind a piece of the command ship's hull just before the explosion. Dad, Maya screamed into her communicator. Still here, sweetheart, came her father's exhausted voice. That dragon friend of yours saved our lives. Showed us where to take cover. Soul-bonded look after each other, Skyrend said, and Maya could hear the smile in his translated voice. The remaining Ravager ships, seeing their command vessel destroyed, began to retreat. Just as the matriarch had predicted, without leadership, they could not fight effectively. Within minutes, the last of them jumped to hyperspace and fled. The battle was over. New Terra had survived. The celebrations lasted for days. Humans and Drakthor celebrated together. The barriers between them completely gone now. They had fought side by side and won. They had proven that two different species could work together and achieve the impossible. Maya stood with her parents watching the festivities. Her father's arm was bandaged and he walked with a slight limp, but he was alive. Her mother had not stopped hugging him since he landed. Skyrend lay beside them, his own wounds healing. He had insisted on staying close to Maya, claiming it was his duty as her guardian. But Maya knew it was more than duty now. They were truly friends,